In March 1979, the world's attention turned to the northern border of Vietnam, where the echoes of one of the most dramatic chapters in modern military history were unfolding. Just days after Chinese forces captured the strategic border town of Lang Son, an unexpected announcement reverberated across the region. On March 5th, China declared it would withdraw its troops, a retreat completed by March 16th. This sudden move posed a profound and lingering question. Why did Vietnam, despite having prepared a detailed and urgent counteroffensive plan, refrain from launching an all-out attack to pursue and destroy the retreating Chinese army? The answer, both intricate and strategic, reveals much about the nature of war, leadership, and Vietnam's unique historical perspective. To understand the context, we must first look at the battlefield situation in Lang Son just before the Chinese withdrawal. In early March 1979, Lang Son became the epicenter of the Sino-Vietnamese border conflict, with China mobilizing 5 infantry divisions and a reinforcement division to encircle the town. Key positions, including Hill 304 and My Lai airfield, fell into Chinese hands after fierce fighting. Yet Vietnam managed to keep significant forces intact in the area. The 14th Army Corps, comprising the 337th, 327th, and 338th Infantry Divisions, alongside the renowned 3rd Gold Star Division, maintained their cohesion and readiness. Even before Lang Son's final defense line was breached on the night of March 4th, Major General Hoang Don, the front's commander, was already drafting plans for a counteroffensive. Behind the front lines, the Vietnamese High Command moved swiftly. The General Staff and Ministry of National Defense activated a large-scale counterattack plan. The 1st Army Corps was ordered to occupy critical positions south of Lang Son, while the 2nd Army Corps, stationed on international duty in Cambodia, received immediate orders to redeploy northward. In a testament to the urgency and scale of the operation, the Soviet Union established a strategic airlift bridge, ferrying elite Vietnamese troops and light weapons back to the homeland, while heavy equipment traveled by rail, sea, and road. By March 11th, the vanguard units of the 2nd Army Corps had reached northern Hanoi, poised to coordinate with other corps for a combined arms offensive. Preparations for fire support and air power were also substantial. The Ministry of Defense bolstered artillery firepower, deploying 175mm guns and BM-21 Ghiared rocket regiments to the border. The Vietnamese Air Force was placed on the highest level of combat alert, with the 923rd Fighter Regiment and elements from 4 other regiments, utilizing a diverse fleet of UH-1 helicopters, U-17 reconnaissance planes, A-37 attack aircraft, F-5 fighter bombers, and MiG-17 and MiG-21 jets. Interestingly, China did not employ its air force during the campaign, providing Vietnam with clear skies for aerial operations, while Soviet air transport further enhanced Vietnam's logistical capabilities. Yet, even as these preparations accelerated, the situation on the ground shifted dramatically with China's sudden withdrawal announcement. When the pullout began on March 5th, Vietnam's key strike formations, especially the 2nd Army Corps, had not yet fully assembled their heavy equipment or completed their deployment. Organizing a large-scale counteroffensive under these conditions required meticulous reconnaissance, terrain analysis, force distribution, inter-unit coordination, and firepower synchronization, tasks that could not be accomplished in the narrow window available. Between March 5th and 13th, Vietnam's local forces remained limited, while China still maintained overwhelming numerical superiority in the border region. Launching a counterattack in the face of such unfavorable force ratios risked a devastating setback should the Chinese decide to counterstrike. Strategic calculations ran deeper still. In 1979, Vietnam was grappling with the enormous aftermath of successive wars. The economy was struggling to recover, and the country's military was stretched thin, with a significant commitment on a new front in Cambodia. Even if a counteroffensive succeeded, it risked humiliating China, inviting retaliation, and potentially igniting a much larger conflict, one that Vietnam's exhausted economy and military might have been unable to withstand. Conversely, should the counterattack fail, it could spell disaster, draining Vietnam's remaining resources and weakening its defensive posture. Vietnamese history and military tradition also played a role in shaping this decision. For centuries, Vietnamese leaders had practiced the art of measured restraint, often allowing adversaries a way out after achieving key victories. This approach not only minimized unnecessary losses, but helped maintain a long-term strategic balance, avoiding cycles of endless retribution and escalation. In the case of Lang Son, this wisdom guided the leadership's choice to exercise patience and prudence at a critical juncture. The ultimate decision was formalized at the highest levels. On March 6, 1979, the Secretariat of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam issued Directive 69, accepting the Chinese withdrawal while demanding continued vigilance and readiness to respond if the enemy returned. The following day, the Vietnamese government officially allowed the Chinese forces to pull back, framing the move as a gesture of goodwill for peace. The Ministry of Defense halted plans for a general counteroffensive, recognizing that the timing was not ripe and the strategic risks were too great. Nevertheless, the withdrawal did not proceed without incident. As Chinese troops retreated, they engaged in widespread destruction, burning villages, killing civilians, and leaving a trail of devastation across the border region. The People's Army of Vietnam responded with localized counterattacks, targeting these acts of sabotage and demonstrating their unwavering resolve to defend the nation. This measured response was not a sign of weakness, but a calculated choice by a people with a long legacy of survival, resilience, and strategic acumen. In the end, Vietnam's decision not to launch a full-scale counteroffensive during China's withdrawal from Lang Son was guided by a complex interplay of military realities, strategic foresight, and historical wisdom. Rather than seizing a fleeting opportunity for battlefield glory, Vietnamese leaders opted for the longer view, preserving national strength, avoiding defeat.